All right, here we go. Hello everyone and welcome to a new cosplay story time. So there are some cosplay memories that you kind of bury a little bit, and this was one that kind of surfaced for me recently, and for the longest time I thought it really wasn't long enough to be a full story, or I don't know, entertaining enough to be a full cosplay story time. And then I kind of just had this revelation that no, this is actually a really funny story to share. So obviously that's what I'm gonna do today, because we all need some nice entertainment during quarantine. I actually gave a little Cliff Note version on my Patreon server, and everyone was like, we need to know this story. We need this context. So that's what we're gonna be doing today. I'm gonna be telling you guys a story about how a mom got upset at me while I was in cosplay for a very interesting reason. I'm not gonna tell you what it is, but trust me, it's something. I'm actually dressed to match this story a little bit. This particular instance happened while I was cosplaying Meg. This was my first time ever cosplaying her. This was to Fan Expo Vancouver, I think 2018. This was towards the end of the day, and I do have a full story time video about all the instances where I took photos with little girls during that day. I had some very funny experiences there. Again, this was around the end of the day. This little girl and her mom came up to me and asked if they could get a photo with me, and I was like, absolutely, that's, you know, I love doing that. So whenever I take photos with little kids, I always like to kneel down because it makes for a cuter photo. It's not as awkward looking because, you know, you have like the kid down here and then you're standing and it's just an awkward kind of height difference. And it's nicer for the child because you can talk to them like actually face to face because you're on their level. So that's something that I like to do just to make the photos better, just to make it like a more kind of magical experience for the kid in question. So that's what I decided to do this time. So, you know, the mom comes up, she asks if she can get a photo of me with her daughter, and I'm like, yeah, totally. And so I'm adjusting my wig and everything, you know, getting ready for the photo. She's getting her camera ready. The girl is standing next to me. You know, I'm all ready to go. And so I kneel down and I kind of, you know, I do this, right? Kind of, you know, lean towards her and, you know, fun Disney photo is basically what I was going for. And immediately this woman like looks at me and she's like, no, don't do that. No, don't do that. This caught me completely off guard because this has never happened. I have no idea what she's upset about. Like, I haven't done anything wrong, right? Like, I did all this stuff to make sure that it was like a nicer photo, right? And again, parents usually really like it when you kneel down, again, because you know, you're on the kid's level. It makes for a cuter photo, makes for a nicer photo, makes for a more, you know, personal experience with the child. So I was really taken aback by this. And it was just like, she was very rude about it. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like, what did I do? I'm trying to figure out. It completely knocked me off my rhythm, as John Mulaney would say. I'm like, oh, yeah, okay, sure, all right. And I'm like, so dazed. Tea break, hold on. So I kind of, in this like weird daze, stand next to the kid. I probably do like a really awkward smile because I'm still like really shaken from this. Again, I don't know what I've done wrong. I don't know why she's so against me kneeling next to her child. It was very strange. Like, I don't know what I did to get yelled at, but here we are. So then we take the photo. Afterwards, I kind of like walk away and I'm like, what the heck happened? I don't know. So fast forward many months later, I was wearing Meg again at Emerald City Comic Con. During Emerald City Comic Con, I didn't get as many photo requests with kids as I did during Fan Expo. I mostly got photo requests with like adults, which was really awesome. There were so many adults who like saw me dressed as Meg and they were really excited. It was very sweet to see, because what I learned during Fan Expo, and I covered this in my Fan Expo Storytime video, was that a lot of kids, it looks like growing up right now, don't really watch Hercules, but a lot of kids who are from my generation, 90s kids, except for me, I only watched it like 2 years ago because for some reason my parents never had me watch it. I don't know why. I'm the exception to that rule. All the other 90s kids watched this movie and have such fond memories of it. So it's really awesome getting to see like grown men around my age being like, oh my gosh, like, can I get a photo with you? It was very sweet. But there weren't as many kids asking to get photos with me during that convention. But there was one instance, I was hanging out in the lobby and this little girl, definitely in elementary school, probably around 10 years old, comes up to me and she's like, excuse me, Meg, can I get a photo with you? Which, first of all, she actually knew who I was cosplaying, which is something that no other kid that I've interacted with while in that cosplay has. Like, none of them have known who I was. They've always either just thought I was a generic princess or mistook me for a different character. So I was like, wow, like that caught me off guard, like, to begin with. You know who I am and you're like 10, this is beautiful. So I'm like, absolutely. I then look and I see her dad is the one who has the camera. So I'm like, all right, cool, let's do this. So again, I get myself ready and I knelt down for the photo and the dad takes the photo and he's like, oh, that's awesome. Thank you so much. Here, let me show you. I go and look at the photo, and that is when it hits me. That is when everything clicks together and it all makes sense. Obviously, I do not do cosplays that have cleavage. That's just not something that I'm comfortable with. I'm not comfortable showing butt, I'm not comfortable showing cleavage. That's just not something I'm into. But the way that Meg's dress is cut, it's like a tank top, right? So like when you're standing normally, you don't have cleavage, right? But from certain angles, if you do kneel down and the camera is like shooting down on you, you tend to see a little bit of cleavage, which is again, something that I'm really, really not used to. And it wasn't something that I was at all conscious of until all of this happened, and now it's just like burnt into my memory. Anyway, that completely caught me off guard. Of course, the dad's like, oh, look, it's a really nice photo. Like, you guys look great. But to me, I'm like, oh, that's not what I wanted to have happen at all. But I was like too caught off guard and like embarrassed to ask to get the photo retaken. Anyway, but at that moment, everything made sense. So the reason why that mom was upset at me when I knelt down to take the photo with her daughter was that that showed some cleavage, and that upset her, which I completely understand where she was coming from, like 100%. It was totally fine to prefer that I be standing for the photo, totally fair thing to ask. But obviously there's a much nicer way to do it than like snapping at me and being really like rude and mean about it, because approaching it that way has a bit of a like body shaming air to it. And it's something that has really stuck with me. Like whenever I wear that cosplay, that's something that I'm really like self-conscious about and like really kind of, I don't know, there's kind of like shamefulness to it, you know, because of that experience. So, you know, when that kind of thing happens, it's totally okay to ask a cosplayer like, oh, actually, could you please stand up? I like the look of that better. And, you know, the cosplayer will be totally happy with that, right? Instead of being like, oh, no, don't do that, right? You know, it throws you off and it's just unnecessary, right? So, you know, just politely ask people, hey, could you please stand up? That's better. Because again, I had absolutely no ill intentions in that situation. This was something that I didn't even know was happening. I just wanted to like kneel down because I thought it would make for like a nicer photo, right? So just be nice to people, please. This is the moral of the story. But anyway, that is the time that a lady got mad at me because of my titties. That was a thing. Very awkward, but now it's something that it won't happen again because now I know. I hope you guys enjoyed that. That was a very awkward experience to talk about and kind of put into words, but I hope I did okay. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. I hope this story made you laugh. I hope it helped brighten your day in quarantine. If you guys want to check out more cosplay story times, I'll have my playlist linked up there and down there and in the end card and on the moon and in the sky and just everywhere. It'll be everywhere. You can find it anywhere. Anyway, thank you guys so much as always. I'll see you guys all next time. But until then, pan faces, please be sure to take care. Bye.